And we begin this hour with a tale of corruption at the highest level. Commodity giant Glencore has admitted to bribing officials in Nigeria and 6 other African countries in return for preferential access to oil cargoes, while prosecutors say Glencore laid private jets filled with cash to sweeten up energy officials. While the penalty hangs in the balance, with a London judge expected to announce a steep fine on Thursday.
Well, Arise News business analyst Bode Ososami joins us now for more on this. Thank you so much, Bode. But how does Nigeria feature in this latest Glencore fiasco?
Well, only last Wednesday, Nigeria's attempt to claim Glencore over the bribe said to be paid shows that NM was denied by a London court. And the lawyers representing Nigeria told the Southwark Nigerian officials should be allowed to address the court since Nigeria was met and is involved in this bribery oil operations, 5 African countries. But the judge, Peter Fraser, ruled that Nigeria does not have the right to be heard as only the person, which in this case is the various fraud office, and they have the right to make arguments a sentence. But my question is not how to obtain money, but to get to the bottom of deals were actually done. Third, Glencore paid nearly £1 million bribes in the form of services through its agent limited to National Petroleum Corporation. That's the nation's. And between March 2012 and April 2014, the next step, of course, should be to Group General Manager of Oil Marketing in the period April 2014. He's a known person. The GED Commercial, also a known person. The GMD and the Minister of Money look at their lifestyles, join the dots, and of course punish the culprits instead of playing deaf and dumb for reasons best known to Nigerian authorities. Also, to address the issues, you have to sign crude oil sales contracts after open bidding with reputable refiners and traders, not middlemen. Qualifying those already tainted with past regularities, and then you do regular post-transaction audits of crude sales related processes.
But unfortunately, communication is not exactly the way we'd like it. But what are the larger issues here? Tell us your thoughts.
Well, I think Glencore has a larger case, a bigger case to answer. It looks like approval and offering of bribes is an acceptable way of doing business in Glencore, and corruption looks endemic within the corporation. And the chair, Khalidas Madhav Pedi, has apologized. He says the company unreservedly regrets the harm caused by these offenses. And they are told they're going to pay about $1.5 billion. They probably provided about $2 billion. But I looked at Glencore's results. $1 billion, $2 billion is peanuts to Glencore. In 2022, half year, Glencore made $134 billion, that's revenues, and $19 billion, and that's the EBITDA, that's earnings before interest, tax, and amortization. So if you're doing revenues of $134 billion, that is in 6 months, mind you, maybe the whole year will be more like $250 billion dollars of revenues, and they've been doubling their profits every year in the last 2 years. So clearly, we know why the commodities market is booming. And this, of course, has created opportunities for all these irregularities. And it looks like crime does pay when you see how well Glencore is doing. Sadly, emerging economies prefer to look away. The national oil companies are cherished treasures for the governments in power to plunder. And the real victims, I think, are the hapless citizens with poor education, poor healthcare. The elites go abroad for routine health checks. Citizens live with a huge infrastructure deficit, non-existent social services, paltry safety nets, and increasing poverty. And we know that most of these West African countries are close to financial distress and plagued with debt burdens that have crippled their finances. So an apology from Glencore and billions in fines don't solve the problem. The institutions in these developing economies have to be completely revamped, and more serious investigation needs to be done in many of these countries to fully expose all the collaborators. Like I said, for Nigeria, all you need to do is follow the GGM in charge of crude oil marketing, the minister and the MD, follow the money. You will get to the bottom of it if you really want to. But I don't think the authorities want to do that.
I know that you took that right out of me, Bode, because pleading guilty to the charges by Glencore would not make all of this go away. And I was just going to ask you, how should these emerging economies, especially Nigeria, be going about this? There seems to be silence on the part of the emerging economies. I wonder why.
Well, like I said, the emerging economies prefer to play deaf and dumb and pretend these are complex cases. They're not complex at all. They've already told you the period in which these were done. They told you the company that was paid. They've also mentioned the nature of the transaction. And it's very easy to establish who collected what in this type of deal. My suspicion, and I think it will allow the lawyers to get to the bottom of it, my suspicion is the people involved here are virtually untouchable. For obvious reasons. They have advantage in the society as we speak that protects them from being exposed in these types of deals. So there's really nothing going to happen except the government really wants to make it happen. But your guess is as good as mine in terms of why cases like this, the government prefers to play deaf and dumb.
Conveniently so. Bode Ososami, Arise business analyst. Thank you so much for your insights as always.